want to talk about for this video is training. Okay, the reason why I'm starting this series in the first place, and I realize this one is doing some very boring basics, but they need to be said, and we'll get past it and work on other things later on. But the reason why I'm making this video series is because simple basic shop training doesn't really exist anymore. My brother, for example, is running a robotics club out of a high school that he went to when we were kids, and they're using the machine shop in that class or in that school because it has been used in over 5 years. There are hundreds of thousands of dollars with wonderful machine tool equipment sitting around rusting because they don't offer shop classes in school anymore. It's too much of a liability. So you don't get simple basic training not only in safety but how to use basic tools. So as I mentioned earlier, if you don't know how to use a piece of equipment, for the love of God, ask somebody, right? So ask, there are plenty of people around who can tell you. Neighbors, uncles, grandparents, parents, even just, guys who, walk around, live in your neighborhood. There are people around who can show these things. If you are, look, I'm a blacksmith, and a lot of the stuff I'm going to show is blacksmith oriented, but really it is all general shop oriented as well. But if you're into blacksmithing, join your local blacksmith guild, right? There's plenty of guys there who can teach you all manner of things. So if there are a piece of equipment that you own that you don't know how to use, get some type of training on them, right? Like, I mean, hands-on training, standing right next to somebody who is familiar with using them. Because there's tiny little tips and tricks that they can tell you that are going to save you a lot of grief and can help you use them more efficiently. I highly encourage seeking as much training as you can possibly find. Whether that is finding a vocational school around you and enrolling and taking a few basic courses, like simply taking a basic welding course. The ability to stick two pieces of metal together with a welder opens up worlds of possibilities as far as things you can make. If you're a maker, if you're a craftsperson, even just on a casual level, the ability just to stick metal together with a welder just infinitely opens up things you can do. So I highly recommend it as a skill. I teach it. If you ever catch me around, I teach basic welding 1, 2, and 3. I was previously an X-ray quality certified welder, so I know my way around about every phase of welding there is. But if you want to learn how, when it comes to machine tools, lathes, mills, things like that, I could teach you how to use one of those if you were around, if you were here in the shop with me today. I don't have a mill in here. There's a lathe here, but we don't have a mill here, so I couldn't teach you how to use it because it's one of those things where you need to learn by using that machine, right? You have to have somebody there to show you the basics, show you what to be aware of, show you what to watch out for, and to actually show you how it works while you're using it, right? So you got to have the equipment around. But that's getting harder and harder to find these days, When I was a kid in 7th grade, 8th grade, you had wood shop and basic, small little bits, basic metal shop, tin shop, things like that. High school, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade, you have metal shop, auto shop, all kinds of stuff. There's all manner of things you could take and teach. These days you have to go to specialized school for it. They don't offer it in school anymore. So if there's a piece of equipment around that you want to use and you're not sure how to use it, or if you're not very experienced on it, please ask somebody who is. Simply watching a YouTube video or reading a book on it is not enough. You need somebody who's familiar with the equipment to stand there right next to you while you're using it and point things out to you. There are certain things that are not intuitively obvious, and a lot of it also involves safety checking the machine, make sure it's properly adjusted, and learning how to adjust things. Like simply running a bandsaw is not as simple as flicking the switch and running it through. If your machine is set up properly and it's safe to use, sure, but there are times where the guides need to be adjusted, the belt might break on you, the belt might simply pop off the wheels. You need to know how to address these situations. You also need to know how to tell when your blade is dull and how to change it, which I will go over those things when I do a video on bandsaws. But things like grinders, welders, any type of equipment you find laying around, it only takes a couple of minutes to walk somebody through the basic safety precautions and then stand there and watch them and correct a few of their bad habits that they may or may not have, and to make sure that they're using it safely. So please take the opportunity to take the time. The difference could be between whether you have a set of eyeballs or not when you're done, or whether or not you lose a finger. I like to think I know what I'm doing. After all these years, I still have all my fingers. I have instructors that do not. It bears thinking about that a few minutes of proper instruction with somebody who knows what they're doing can make all the difference. And it can also be the difference between safely, easily, and efficiently completing your project and having it turn into a complete nightmare that takes way longer than it needs to because you keep breaking tools unnecessarily because you're not familiar with their proper operation. Or you simply keep wasting materials because it's not being cut the way you want it, not being machined or formed the way you want it, because your tool or your machine is not working the way it should. So just a few minutes of instruction saves a lot of aggravation. As I mentioned earlier, one of the things we tell apprentices when they first come into a shop with us is how phenomenally dangerous it is. And just like little kids, we make them put their hands in their pockets and we don't let them touch anything until we specifically show them how to use it. This is one of the main things to keep in mind, is it's not just about learning how to efficiently do your job. You have your life, safety, and well-being in your hands, as well as mine and whoever else is in the shop with you. So it is important to be conscientious and be safe above all things. So, with that being said, I'm going to conclude this video on basic shop safety. And if you have any questions, please, by all means, drop them in the comments below. I will be happy to address them, whether just with a simple answer in the comments, or even if necessary, I'll do an entirely new video on it if it's something that requires that level of addressing. This video was helpful. I hope you learned something. And please hit the like button if you like, and share and subscribe if you would. You know, every little bit of help, every little bit of exposure helps me to keep this channel going. So this actually cost me a lot of time and energy to keep this up, and you may or may not notice YouTube has demonetized just about everything. So my entire YouTube revenue for the whole last year was $9.18. So, which I've never seen, by the way, YouTube. Never seem to get YouTube payments, but anyway, don't worry about that. So, you know, a little bit of exposure, a little bit of sharing, a little bit of, you know, spreading around your social media helps a great deal. So, thanks guys. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.